Now, Mr. Johnston, what we have before this committee are two completely different descriptions of your relationship with Justin Trudeau. Those two different descriptions cannot be accurate at the same time. So my question is simple and direct, Mr. Johnston. Were you telling Canadians the truth on May the 23rd or back in 2016?
All right, Canada. We have David Johnston. He's going to be on the stand today, and he's going to get a grilling, no doubt. But the Globe and Mail, once again, has some reporting that's shocking. It's about the Sheila Copps, the lawyer that was hired by David Johnston to assist. So David Johnston's lead counsel on foreign interference probe attended Trudeau fundraiser in 2021 from Robert Fife and Stephen Chase. Former Ethics Commissioner Mary Dawson said that Ms. Block's role is an appearance of bias. So she said it's all bias. She's biased. And what a mess, Ms. Dawson's the ethics commissioner, former. Johnson appointed her, and they are friends. I guess they all support the Liberal Party, and that's the gist of it. This is just... And now here's some tweets. Blackhawks reporter, could you imagine there's a big blizzard and the city works department couldn't send out a snowplow because Jerry was ice fishing and didn't get the email? This is about the emails not coming. And imagine that. A snow not getting plowed and because you missed the email, people would lose it. And here's another thing with this, Ms. Thompson. After Trudeau's national security advisor promises committee access to tracking records on Chong Memo, PCO, public safety, and those, they're denying the records are existing. That's from Lily. Now this is if there's not a reason. Hold on. Now Warren Kinsella, he's also on this. Temptation. Almost to laugh about reports. This is now we have the conservative leader is going to talk the clock. He said he has the record and speaking. I think it was 4 days he spoke in Parliament. He said he's going to block unless he gets those three demands. And lastly, MP Garner is saying that David Johnston was hiring a bunch of consultant companies. What do you think? Comments below. Well, there's many reasons to buy the paper today. The Globe and Mail, National Post, Hill Times, Toronto Star even, and of course the Toronto Sun. I recommend you grab at least a subscription to one of these. Have a good day.
Thank you for your attendance today. Through you, Madam Chair, Mr. Johnston, in 2010, Justin Trudeau, as a private citizen before entering into politics, told CBC Radio that you were a great dinner companion. He specifically said, quote, "We had great conversations around dinner tables, around all sorts of things." This was said around the same time that you were being appointed as our Governor General. Were you aware of that statement, sir?
Madam Chair, I was not aware of that statement in connection with Mr. Trudeau. My meeting with him occurred when he was 10 or 11 years old, skiing with my children 4 or 5 times.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston. We'll get into those areas. My time is very limited, sir. Sir, I got another question for you. As Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau described you as a lifelong family friend, a friendship cemented over many summers as neighboring cottagers in the Laurentians. You never corrected the Prime Minister in his characterization of your relationship with him. Isn't that correct?
Madam Chair, the connection I had with Mr. Trudeau...
Mr. Johnston, I apologize for interrupting you, but the question is, did you...
I'm going to pause. I didn't think you'd be this early into the meeting, Mr. Brock. You and I have had an exchange before, so you know very well that comments are through the chair. I can assure you that the Prime Minister and I have not gone to the cottage together. And so I would just say that if we can just pause and take a second, that's why I wanted to provide a little bit more time. I will provide leniency to ensure that we get to where you need to get to.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the question to Mr. Johnston was, did you characterize or did you change that statement that Justin Trudeau as Prime Minister made to you about you being a lifelong family friend cemented over many summers as neighboring cottagers in the Laurentians? Did you confirm or deny that, sir?
Madam Chair, I was not familiar with the statement that has just been made. I was friends of the father of Mr. Trudeau through his life in politics, and when we tried to engage him with the University of Montreal to be a professor on his return. My last particular meeting with the current Prime
Thank
Minister.
you, thank you,
was going
Mr.
to-
Johnston. I'm going to be getting into areas where you can expand upon things that you've done with the Prime Minister. I need to move on. My time is limited. In 2016, 6 years into your role as Governor General, you gave an interview to the CTV. You were asked about your views of having the Trudeau family living on the grounds of Rideau Hall. Without pause or hesitation, you said it was wonderful because their children played with your grandchildren in the garden. That was pretty exciting to have the next generation together, bringing the place alive. That statement was accurate, correct?
Madam Chair, I don't remember that particular statement, but it is true that the Trudeau family lived in
Thank you,
Rideau
Mr.
College.
Johnston. You further stated in
Point
the
of
same
order.
interview that the Trudeaus were
Point of
very
order,
good
Madam Chair.
tenants.
Point of order, Mr. Turnbull. Being so precious. Allowing the witness to finish a sentence, I do not think would take too much time, and I think it's appropriate just to let the witness answer. Mr. Brock, I agree the time is yours, but let's just be mindful, and I think we can get through this. And I know you can, Mr. Brock, so
Thank
I'm
you.
going to pass you back the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
He now repeated Mr. Brock cutting off the witness when he's not being given the chance to respond. I would appreciate it if at least we could just let Mr. Johnston respond to the question he's being asked. I think that's decorum and normal practice.
Madam Chair, if I may respond, my time is very limited. The question was centered on as to whether or not the statement was accurate. It did not require the witness to elaborate.
I'm just going to respond really quickly, and I feel that Proc has high ratings. We've been here for a long time. I think you know how I operate as chair now as well. And I do believe these points of orders and me interrupting, which I don't want to do, actually just takes away from the time that we're talking about being so precious. Allowing the witness to finish a sentence, I do not think would take too much time, and I think it's appropriate just to let the witness answer. Mr. Brock, I agree the time is yours, but let's just be mindful, and I think we can get through this. And I know you can, Mr. Brock, so
Thank
I'm
you.
going to pass you back the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You further stated that your wife Sharon and yourself became good friends with the Trudeaus, that your relationship with Pierre Trudeau went back to children's days when the families would get together to ski at Mount Tremblant. You stated that the 3 Trudeau boys were the same age as your 5 daughters, that you became a ski party at Mont Tremblant. You stated that your children had enormous respect for Pierre Elliott Trudeau. He was a wonderful father and very good with the children, who at this point were teenagers, that he would lead them into discussions such as democracies in the world. And then in 2017, sir, you interviewed with Paul Wells. You talked of knowing Justin Trudeau since he was 6 years old, as both families shared adjacent cottages in the Laurentians. In 2017, sir, the Prime Minister paid tribute to you, calling you a family friend and a friend of his father. He ended his comments by saying to both of you and your wife, "Thank you, my friends." You privately or publicly did not object to the assessment of your friendship with Justin Trudeau. Now let's fast forward to your press conference of May the 23rd. You were on record stating the following basic facts of your so-called friendship with Justin Trudeau. Your words, sir, that when your children were ages 7 to 12, you had a condo at the foot of Mount Tremblant. Pierre Elliott Trudeau had a country home 50 kilometers away. On 5 occasions over 7 years, he and his 3 kids came and parked their car in the lot. On one occasion, you drove the kids back to their mother's house. You knew Justin Trudeau as a student at McGill. You had no contact with Justin Trudeau until he was an elected MP and later as Prime Minister. The point is, for 40 years, you said, sir, I had no contact with JT, Justin Trudeau, not as a friend. Those are the facts. Later that day, you interviewed with CTV anchor Omar Sakajina and stated your relationship with Justin Trudeau was an unfortunate allegation. You largely confirmed the same details as your press conference, but changed the frequency of ski trips to 5 occasions over 2 to 3 years, as opposed to over 7 years. Now, Mr. Johnston, what we have before this committee are 2 completely different descriptions of your relationship with Justin Trudeau. Those 2 different descriptions cannot be accurate at the same time. So my question is simple and direct, Mr. Johnston. Were you telling Canadians the truth on May the 23rd or back in 2016?
Madam Chair, telling the truth with connection with my relationship with Prime Minister Trudeau. It goes back to when our children were teenagers, and during the course of almost 40 years, we had no meetings, no dinners at one another's homes, no particular contact. Was a friend of the father, etc., but those were the extent of the contacts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll resume the time there.
Don't forget to like, dislike, subscribe, and comment. Safe Space Cafe. And always, have a good day.